you can actually see, whereas that other house was red.
Was bottomed out on the red, yeah.
100 feet to the backyard, I could see the back corner of my yard, which when I looked up before, it was just blur.
Sure.
I had no idea.
Fields were also like making the mold problem like worse. I initially thought the problem was entirely a mold problem,
And then I'm going to take the airplane mode. I'm going to turn it off. See well. So then, got eye tests and then got glasses when I was in high school. I had no idea I couldn't see.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. What we're here today and going to talk about is the building biology and find out what our little phones and Wi-Fi's and all the different electronics that we have are doing to us in the house and ways to eliminate these things and just kind of see where that goes and what rabbit holes we go down. So I'm here with Daniel Mutchler, who is the person that introduced me to this concept. I had no idea this was even a thing. And there's experts and books written, and he's exposed me to this. And full disclosure, Daniel was very reluctant to do this because he doesn't consider himself maybe the level of expert that would be writing a book. We'll put it that way.
Right.
But he definitely knows way more than the average Joe. I didn't even know this was something that existed. So that's why we're here, and just to expose this knowledge to people so they can learn about it. And how this conversation got started with Daniel, I was over at my uncle's friend's house, and his friend has a daughter, Anna, who Daniel's now with, and that's his partner. And we got to talking, and I was telling him about how I was trying to help my wife with her sleeping, and we're going to kind of make her bedroom a Zen bedroom and paint it colors and this and that. And he's like, well, what about your Wi-Fi, and where does she keep her phone at night? And kind of this whole conversation started. So let's just dive in. What can you tell me about building biology? And is that the technical term?
Yeah.
If I wanted to Google it.
So I guess building biology would be like, it's a certification. It's like a $25,000 certification or whatever, where people sort of get, they learn about how to go into a structure, like a commercial, residential structure or whatever, and determine like whether or not it is conducive to like human habitation and human health. So they're looking at things like certainly air quality, like for mold and stuff like that. It turns out a lot of the issues that can pop up on that kind of inspection are things like electromagnetic fields that a lot of ways like can just arise from like less than ideal wiring conditions in the house and things that are a little bit sloppy here and there. A lot of these older buildings have a lot of issues,
Right. And I think what we were talking about is actually even pre-technology EMF, electromagnetic field, things that can happen due to just the way the electrical wiring is done in the house.
Sure.
It could be it could be something that doesn't even have to do with a Wi-Fi router or cellular phone. It could be just with, I think you said the initial engineering and design of electrical systems were, help me out because I don't know this. You know more than I do. With the signals canceling, can you maybe remember that conversation we had? We were talking about
the parallel paths,
parallel paths.
So it's like the idea that in a Romex, the black wire takes power from
help our listeners out. What's some of them may not know what Romex is.
So like a Romex would be like your typical like standard like home wire, it's called Romex.
Romex. It's got two wires in it that are insulated.
Yeah.
A lot of times they'll have a ground that's wrapped in paper.
Yeah.
And then that's wrapped again
in insulation. Yeah. And so the Romex has a black wire and a white wire. The black wire would take the power from the panel to like the point of service or whatever, to the appliance or the circuit, into the circuit. And then the white wire would bring it back to the panel. And the idea is that like each of these wires has an electric current running through it and creating an electric field around the wire. But since the wires are running in parallel paths in opposite directions, those fields cancel each other out. So then in any circuit, if the total linear distance of the black to the white wire is not the same, equidistant or whatever, then you would have a field that's not canceled out, you know.
There's like a leakage.
Yeah, it would be like since it just that if any portion of that wire like it is not matched by an equal portion of its opposite wire in a parallel path in that circuit, then that can result in a field not being canceled out, which can be shared along the entire circuit. And you can determine like which circuits have this issue by putting an amp clamp on. And I have one in the other room. I don't have it here with me. Like I have several other meters to kind of show or whatever, but the amp clamp allows you to kind of get a reading on like a piece of Romex, the black and the white wire. It clamps around the wire and reads like the field. You can see like, like the voltage or the amperage running through it. You set it to amperage, and if that amp clamp is reading anything other than 0 on the top of your panel, it means you have net current, which I guess is a code violation. So it indicates that there's like wiring issues in that circuit. So then you can trace down like getting into the various junction boxes and seeing like, do you have the similar lengths of wire connections? Like the black and the white, everything should be like, real clean.
Like they could have like maybe 6 inches of extra wire on one of them.
Right, exactly.
For whatever reason.
Absolutely. Or you could have like a 3-way circuit, which is like a circuit that has 2 switches that operate one light. So you can turn the light on and off from 2 different points in the room. And a good example is like a stairwell where there's a light switch at the top and the bottom. Well, those 2 switches have 2 hot leads running between them, which represents, there's quite a bit extra black wire in that circuit than white wire. So 3-way circuits are one thing that could potentially be eliminated in a home that you're trying to clean up.
Is there an alternative way to be able to turn the lights on and off, like the top and the bottom?
You can just have, I've kept my 3-way circuit on my basement stairs, but just for, safety or whatever, but all the other 3-way circuits in the house I've removed. So they all now each only have 1 light switch.
Right. So maybe it's just a matter of a little bit of inconvenience of having to walk across the room. Whereas staircase, I can see that might be a safety issue, being able to turn the lights on and off. And then I guess you wouldn't want to maybe introduce a motion sensor light, because then that could be additional.
You potentially could. I guess a motion sensor a lot of times would be like an infrared motion sensor. I'm not sure that infrared it can be like terribly difficult to deal with someone that has like electrosensitivities. Like, so really how I got into this whole thing was I developed some electrosensitivities living in an apartment, a 3rd-story apartment that had like a unhealthy electrical environment.
Was it an older building? What's that old before Romex they had? Is it like
the knob and tube?
Knob and tube.
Yeah,
I could see where you could definitely come into a situation with knob and tube where there's substantial different length differences.
I guess that's a point too. And then the knob and tube, a lot of times they don't run in parallel paths next to each other. So
they're separate.
Yeah, so in theory those fields aren't getting canceled out.
Was that the kind of wiring that building had, that when you discovered you had this sensitivity?
That building, it was, as far as I could tell, the wiring was modern. It was an older building. I think part of the issue with that was being a 3rd-story apartment and sort of like having a neighborhood like power line about 12 feet out my bedroom window.
Oh, wow.
So like being on the 3rd floor,
you're up high where they run the power, it's like level with your room.
I could look out my bedroom window and see the power lines running across, and that's like 3 stories up,
And those were potentially high power.
Yeah.
Because I've read stories where people that are under like those big high power towers, that can be very impacting to their health.
I've heard some people
over time.
talk about their sensations, like some of the electrosensitivity sensations they get from that, and like it sounds very challenging. Some of the things that they get that they have to deal with.
That's why that property usually has a discount.
It's good to exactly like it's good to like if you're buying a new house and you are sensitive in some ways to kind of like have an idea about what to look for, so that or get an inspection from a.
Well, for someone that doesn't know, like I don't know, is it possible for me to not to have sensitivities, but then at the same time not really know that
Absolutely.
I have and so how does that kind of manifest itself I could kind of tune into? Because I'm not
sure.
Like I'll never forget when I was a kid, everything was great. I would look around, I can see, and then one day I was playing around and found my dad's old military eyeglasses, and I put them on. I'm like, oh. You can actually see, 100 feet to the backyard. I could see the back corner of my yard, which when I looked up before, it was just blur.
Sure.
I had no idea that I couldn't see well. So then, got eye tests and then got glasses when I was in high school. I had no idea I couldn't see. Yeah. So I'm curious, is this electrosensitivity is kind of possibly the same way?
Definitely. And I can tell you a story. I will say before then that like it seems to me that like mold sensitivities can kind of resemble electrosensitivities and vice versa. It's like a lot of times there can be a mold issue in a home with health issues, and evidently dense electric fields can potentiate mold toxicity up to 600 times. So fields with homes with unhealthy electric fields can be homes with mold issues that kind of potentiate one another. Yeah.
So it's like a mold fertilizer
kind of a thing. I don't know
if that's the right word, but I'm understanding what you're saying, right? It creates a better environment for mold to grow.
Yeah, just like pisses it off or something and makes it toxic. Like someone of the
it's not only just that; it actually makes it more toxic.
Yeah.
If it was just a regular mold growth.
Yeah, electric fields can make mold actually become even more toxic.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What does that? I'm curious because air conditioners have a lot of electricity running through them, right? Mm-hmm. So I have a UV light in my air conditioner to help with the mold.
Yeah. I've installed.
Is there anything else that you can do to address mold inside of an air system? Because that can be I think it's like I remember being over in Romania and they called it. What do they call it? There's a name they call it, but it's like they don't like to use air conditioning and they don't actually even like having the windows open.
Mm-hmm.
And so whoever's from Romania that's watching this, put it in the comments when I'm talking about. But and I'm sure there's probably a reason and a historical fact on why they have those concerns, right?
Yeah. AC units can provide a good environment for mold to grow. There is a device that I found called by New Calgon, NU-CALGON, called the iWave R is the particular model that worked for my application. Basically, it's like an ion generator that I installed onto my the main trunk on my. Actually, the main trunk on my air handler after the air came through the air handler. And before
so this is on as the air is coming back in, going through the A coil, or after it's gone?
The A coil. Yeah.
So after the A coil, and it's going to supplying the house with the cooler air.
Yeah, and basically it produces negative and positive ions that I guess will bond to particles like dirt particles and mold particles in the air. It gives them an electrostatic charge and they attract each other. They clump together in the air, become heavier than the air, and then fall out of the air.
Is there a filter around to help capture these, or?
I run HEPA filters because I've just had kind of a battle royale with mold over the past 7 or 8 years, and it turns out as I learned more that was also connected to an electro health problem with electric fields and stuff like that.
Okay, we didn't even talk about. I didn't realize there's a relationship between the mold, and then the electrical fields, in a home,
and also the symptoms that people can experience, like they're like, is it a mold symptom? Because like a lot of people haven't heard of electrohealth, and it's just sort of like trying to figure out like what's wrong, you know? And a lot of people just go look straight at mold first, because like a lot of these issues, like mold is neurotoxic. So a lot of these symptoms can kind of be like nervous, neurological symptoms, you know? People are like kind of scrambling to figure stuff out, like I did when I started getting my electro health issues. I could tell you a story about how I developed them if you're interested.
Yeah, let's hear it. Yeah.
Well, check this out. So I lived at this apartment like on a third story in the city, and I was kind of into like wellness stuff and kind of into like trying out some cool stuff, whatever. So I got into this grounding. And I found, if you like ground your mattress sheet, then you can like have a positive benefit. It's called grounding or earthing or whatever.
Well, sure, I've heard of grounding, but not in that aspect. I heard grounding like I'd walk on the beach with my yoga instructor, and the first time I went out there, she's like, "What are you doing?" Like, "What do you mean? I'm walking on the beach with you." She goes, "You got your shoes on?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah." So she goes, "You can't ground with your shoes on.
Right.
You got to take your shoes off." So I've learned a little bit. So I like going to the beach.
Yeah.
And that's where I get, I guess, my grounding is try to get there. I want to get there once a week. It doesn't happen, but we, for sure, probably at least once a month. Go out there and just walk on the beach, bare feet in the sand with the water. I don't know if the water helps or hurts, but for this grounding. But now you're taking it out to a next level, saying, I can ground my bed sheets. Like, are your bed sheets special? Do they have copper in them or anything, any metal or? Well,
the idea is that like, if you're in your bed, like 7 to 9 hours a night, sleeping, then that, if you can ground during that time, like there's a lot of products on the internet right now you can get for like grounded apparatus for like a grounded bed sheet, Now, like,
does it have metal in it?
There's different ones. There are certain cloths that are electrically conductive.
Oh, okay.
There's another one that has like silver fibers like woven into the material, and then
how do you ground it then?
A lot of people and a lot of these products actually suggest that you plug it into the ground receptacle on your nearby outlet.
Right. So it's not going to hit the power. It's going to just go into that ground.
I think this is a very bad idea. And I think it
could be dangerous.
It's very bad. It's very dangerous. Like if your house got hit by lightning, it could be a bad situation. But really what we're talking about is like a lot of dirty voltage and stuff like in the panel, like just a quick little backstory here. Like before we go back to that story or whatever is like, so a lot of this sloppy wiring in houses, like the neutrals and the grounds oftentimes aren't isolated on their own bus bars. And there's a lot of continuity between neutrals and grounds in the panel. So like if you have dirty,
you don't really know unless you've actually inspected your panel to know, is your ground truly a clean ground?
Exactly.
Or is it intermingled with your neutrals?
And best bet is that it's all intermingled, and there's dirty voltage on the house either from the power supply or from a bunch of smart devices or other reasons, and those are getting on your grounds, which means that the case for your fridge and the case for your oven, like the case that your oven that you lean against when you're cooking, the metal oven case is actually carrying like a micro voltage on it. Your sink and your water pipes, your bathtub could be, has like a small voltage. Is not necessarily something that you can feel. Like if you're leaning
Actually, I've
against
just read about something like this. Like you could literally be taking a bath.
Yeah.
And electrocuting yourself, I guess, or what is it called? Because you're getting this micro voltage. It's such a low amount, but the body is going to be impacted by a low amount that you can't sense that you're getting.
Yeah.
But you're getting.
Right.
This is what you're talking about.
It's true. And a lot of like another source for incoming dirty voltage into a home can be actually the water line. Is like, a lot of these panels are bonded to the water line. There's like a dedicated like heavy gauge ground that goes
to
from
the water
to the water main, like right after it comes in the wall in your basement. And like this was like code. I've seen it everywhere. Like So the issue with this is that so many people's panels, like their grounds and the neutrals are bonded. There's dirty voltage. There's miswiring. There's voltage going straight onto their ground, and it's bonded to the water main. And so your water main is getting electrified by your panel, in most likely, like to some extent, even if it's just micro voltage. Now everybody else's house is doing that too, right? In your neighborhood, and you all share the same water main, right? So even though that water main is buried and some of that voltage can get grounded, like some that voltage is still coming in on your water main. Now, it's going through your house and it's energizing like your water lines a little bit. If you have copper, it goes up to your bathtub, and there's a chance that, you're putting your 4-year-old in there or whatever every afternoon, for a bath or whatever. They're getting hit with a little bit of voltage. I've actually seen a scientific study that linked this voltage with childhood leukemia, just from...
Oh, really?
Just
micro voltage.
Yeah, just from bath time,
Interesting. So, well, back to the sheets, because we got down that.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
The sheets, they were proposing plugging them in the wall, and you're saying probably not the best idea. So how do you ground it if you don't want to plug it into the wall?
So I used a dedicated copper wire that I ran outside of my window, down 3 stories, down the outside of the building, and around to a small, like a short, like 2-foot grounding stake that I put in the little lawn on the apartment building, So I had a dedicated ground that wasn't connected to any electrical system in the building, right? Now, I did this before realizing that like it's really important to check like your environmental electric field before you like spend a lot of time grounding, because if you have a very dense electric field and you're grounding, basically you just turn your body into like a grounded antenna for the electric fields, right? Which is what I did. Okay. So like
it actually made it worse.
Yeah. And it made me become electrosensitive, like, doing this like health and wellness practice, with like, and I even made a dedicated ground. I didn't even plug it into my building, like
didn't matter. There's so much
yeah
in the building that now you're this antenna drawing it all to yourself,
exactly.
through your body.
Now it turns out that I was like 15 feet away from the power line, like outside my bedroom window, so that doesn't doing me any favors, but also like, in my like, trying to figure out what was going on and why I was having like these consistent palpitations and like micro panic attacks and like vertigo and like all kinds of stuff. Like I would have like anxiety about like traveling under high tension power lines if there was passing underneath them. I would just have like this weird kind of like, feeling, like vertigo type of feeling and stuff. So I bought this little, at the time I bought this little EMF detector that it was like $35. And this was like my first foray into the whole thing. And I determined that like everywhere in that apartment, this meter was like maxed out on to the red. Yeah. Like
in the entire apartment.
In the entire apartment. And part of it is because like in the city, fields tend to be higher, like on the 3rd story, like I guess like there's less, it's easier for like waves to kind of like travel. Like,
so curious, did you happen to do that like on the other levels and see?
I didn't access anybody else's apartment to get in and figure out what's going on. But, so I was
how long did you end up staying in the apartment?
I was probably in there for another 6 months while I tried to figure out, cause I love the place, and it's kind of hard to let go sometimes, but, like the electric fields were also like making the mold problem like worse. I initially thought the problem was entirely a mold problem, because of a roof issue. And so, because of my vertigo and stuff was showing up as like, a neurotoxicity, since it was seemed to be triggered by like strong smells, strong visuals and strong sounds, So
what kind? I'm curious. What kind of testing did you do with maybe traditional medicine for the vertigo, or did you?
I didn't do too much. Like I saw someone and they didn't really have much for me.
Did they give you like a balance test or anything like that?
No. It's the vertigo seemed to be triggered, and there would be times in the apartment where I was just like, "What's going on?" It's kind of like Twilight Zone stuff, or it's just like kind of like something's not right, and
You're saying you were into the wellness and everything. I was curious, did you try any other alternatives like acupuncture or herbal teas to help with the vertigo?
No, not really. Not too much. Yeah, not that I can remember.
But you since had it resolved.
Yeah, it's gotten way better. Like, since I moved out of that place, it's pretty much gone. Yeah. I mean, I would say like, I don't really struggle with that anymore. I bought a house. I moved out of that house, and 6 months later I bought a house, and the house I moved into also had this house that had significant problems with mold and electric fields, but by then I was a little bit wiser, and like, I was able to like, by then I determined that like a lot of these mold issues can like be potentiated and caused by, the electric field problem. So I bought some resources and I got some good meters, and
Like, let's see the one. Is that one still functioning? The one that you said you originally, the gray one.
Oh, this one, yeah, it still functions.
So let's turn that on. And
okay.
where are we at in this house now?
It's like, this doesn't give you like a good metric, but it's like right between the green and the yellow,
Whereas that other house was red.
Was bottomed out on the red, yeah. And you can hear this. It has like an analog. This one's like an analog, So you can walk around and just kind of like.
I'm just curious, if I take that. Does this microphone in my computer? Interesting. Where's the reader? Is it more on the front?
It's.
Look at that. That's where the hard drive's at.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can you hear all that? Now, this thing is like rudimentary. Like it won't shut down for 5 minutes. It has like a 5-minute timer when you push the button.
Oh no!
So
I'm sorry, I didn't.
That's
know
good.
that.
I can turn it. I can just do this right there.
A little 9-volt.
It'll go. So yeah, we can turn that off. But and then so I bought these better meters, and
so this one's pretty affordable.
It's like $35, and you can start to get an idea. Like, are you living in a death trap?
Right?
Yeah, I mean that's good.
Just for $35, you don't have to go dive deep yet.
Yeah, and then
so you got the. I guess were you just using this gray meter when you first moved into this house?
Yeah, this one.
Determining, and so that's when you started what strip. Like, what was your first step? Were you attacking the mold, attacking the electric? Like, where did you?
It was the first step was the mold, and it was kind of like, I kind of felt like kind of crazy, like I was just like dealing like this and fighting this invisible. I felt like, fighting this invisible Don Quixote, like fighting like invisible enemies or whatever, I'd be like friggin' like wiping all the floors down with paper towels, like every 3 days, like whatever, just trying to fix this problem. And eventually like I figured out that like I changed all the windows out to like these nice new casement windows, and I tuck pointed the entire house, which made a huge difference. This is an old brick house from like 1904, and there were like several like water ingression points, where
with the tuck pointing,
yeah, and just like water
I guess
gets
new roof.
The roof is fine. The roof is good. The tuck pointing was probably the major issue, and the old windows.
Water getting in, causing mold issues.
Yeah.
Was the mold growing in the brick or?
Yeah.
Like between the brick? I guess this is, what do you call it? Slat and plaster, or what's it called?
Lath and plaster.
Lath and plaster.
This is just plaster over masonry.
Plaster over masonry.
Many of these walls, and then there's like a little bit of insulation, and a furring strip before the drywall on the inside, So, but yeah, and the mold and stuff.
Did you take all the drywall out too, or didn't it go that far?
No, it didn't go that far. It's like I got pretty sensitive to like the mold, like living at the other place, But I started to learn about further about the relationship with mold and EMF, and so I kind of started to focus on the EMF, and I got connected with a couple very knowledgeable building biologists, and we have
here in town.
No, one is in Carolina, and the other one's in Wisconsin. There is a local guy that I connect with about stuff, and like they come in town sometimes. I had Andrew McAfee do an inspection of the house, and he kind of looked with me and we talked, and then I bought his book, which I recommend for anybody listening. It's called Killing Current.
Okay.
and his websites. I guess at the end of the video, we can give you a few websites.
I'll do it right now. The guys will add it in.
Yeah. So Andrew McAfee's website is homeemftracing.com.
Okay.
And he has like some PDFs and downloads that you can buy, and he's got some books, and he's got some practical manuals for like someone who's just getting into like
somebody like me.
Yeah, exactly. And you might have to apply yourself a little bit if you don't have a mechanical mind. It's written it's well written. It will take some understanding. Just start with killing current. I guess. And he took a look at everything and kind of started to show me.
He actually came to your house.
Yeah. Well, he was in town doing an inspection for someone else, and a friend of mine let me know. I got a hold of him, and he came over here, and we talked about some of the stuff. We did like a partial building biology inspection, and then so I started making some changes. Since then, I got involved with Bill Bathgate, and his website is defilters.com. He's got some information there and stuff. And then I learned about the website Safe Living Technologies, where you can get some good. These are sort of like the industry standard meters. This entry level ME 3030B. Measure electric and magnetic fields.
So if you're like, I'm just curious, like if you're considering purchasing a home, I mean, I'm already in a home. Most people watching is probably already in a home.
Yeah.
But if you're considering moving and buying a new home, there are people out there that will come and give it an
inspection. Yeah.
A building biology inspection and a report.
Yep.
So you can have an idea. Now, do you think that would end up and you would end up and say, hey, I don't even want to buy this house? Or would it be maybe the owner has to give you some compensation to fix some of the issues? Or what? I guess it could be any of the above results based on that inspection that you get.
And honestly, like if I would have known like how unhealthy this house was before I bought it, I may have thought twice about getting this place. It's been like and I mean, I'm still here and I'm okay and I'm stronger for it, but like it's taken a lot of work, like to get like, I tuck pointed the whole place by myself, for example, like it's a lot of work, and I replaced the panel, and I've done a variety of things, but coming out of that apartment that I was coming from and moving into a place that had a mold problem was sort of like out of the frying pan and into the fire, so to speak,
Right. But now you've got most everything sorted, or
yeah, it's pretty much good. The last thing that I have yet to do is install some filters on each phase of the panel. So I need 2 filters to filter the electricity. That's kind of like the rest is pretty good, but it's just sort of like the final custom piece. Like the power supply coming off this transformer isn't very high quality. It's pretty dirty. I determined this with
what makes it dirty.
It could be just like solar panel inverters are one thing that make a lot of noise, like a lot of electrical noise. So there's like 6 houses on this transformer here, and like if a house nearby has like solar panels or whatever, that can create a lot of noise that can transfer to the other homes on the thing.
So when you say noise, it's like I'm envisioning myself, electric current is like a wave.
Yeah.
But the noise kind of...
It's like a fuzzy caterpillar.
It's a fuzzy wave instead of a nice smooth wave.
Well, you can have like your 60 hertz sine wave for your like power supply, but then you can have like a fuzzy caterpillar that isn't even necessarily on the sine wave. It's transients above 60 hertz, because anything with a wavelength below 60 hertz is like canceled out by the sine wave, the power supply. So like, but then you have these transients. They're like power signals that like change, like over time, they're transient.
Is this what like down in Florida, we're constantly having, I don't know if they're just like little micro surges or something. It's like the whole house goes off and then it comes up. Like it flickers.
Yeah.
It'll trigger my alarm system. and then it'll go away and everything's okay. But then I got to go turn the alarm off. Sometimes I got to reset computers, reset the surge protectors.
Yeah.
Most of the time I don't, because I have surge prior to us. Like, my dad had a laptop, and I thought it was crazy that he kept on having issues with the laptop. We then plugged the laptop into a battery backup.
Yeah.
That cleaned up a sine, I think called it a sine wave.
Okay.
Battery, is that a thing?
Was it? I'm not sure. Yeah.
I think it had like a, clean power kind of thing.
The UPS
UPS, uninterruptible power supply, but yet it also said that it cleaned the power too.
Sure. Yeah.
So the laptops ran off of a battery.
Yeah.
Which I thought was odd. That I would think the fact it was ran off of a battery, it wouldn't get all that dirty power. But
sure.
The moment he started using that, no more issues with the laptop.
Okay.
Like, literally, what was wrong with the laptop? It was plugged into dirty power.
Yeah. There are different types of filters. One's called a sine tamer. It's like a voltage. It's like a surge suppressor with a filter on it.
I think I saw where you can get these, like, for your panel, right? You can buy a whole panel that has a filter on it, or you put a filter before the power hits your panel. Is that what it like?
It filters the phases in the panel, so you'll take two adjacent breakers. They it's like the phases alternate on the breakers because they go back and forth like this, and so two adjacent breakers will give you access to each phase, and then each one you can put a filter on each of those.
So it takes a slot.
Yeah, it takes a slot. And this issue you're talking about with the power supply, like being like real sketchy or whatever, you might want to get like a good surge suppressor on that panel, because that can protect all your electronic devices. Like, they can get hit.
I supposedly have one on my meter. I don't know, from Florida Power and Light.
Yeah.
But I don't know how good. I pay an extra $10, $15 a month for that. But
Yeah.
You think I'd probably be better off just getting my own separate filter? Like, you're running an old school meter, analog meter, versus the smart meter.
I opted out of the smart meter because it's so close to the bed in the house I was using at the time. And also just because I'm tired of like electro-sensitivity issues, the smart meters can provide problems, like.
Okay. So, well, lucky for me, my meter's on the far side of the house. It's not close to the bedroom. Yours is literally.
Yeah.
It looks like, if I remember seeing that right, it's like 5 feet from your bed.
Yeah, exactly. Now, smart meters can like put some of these transients on your circuits. It could also like have a significant field. Like Bill Bathgate at defilters.com has like a device that he sells called the Iron Maiden, which is like a steel box that magnetically attaches onto your smart meter and encapsulates it. It catches the fields coming off of it and sends it to ground.
So you ground this box.
Yeah, well, the can for your meter should be grounded anyway.
So you just put this on there and it captures the signals coming out of it.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people's panels in their electrical system like are just so messed up. Like my panel wasn't even grounded. Like it's just like an old school system. It was a crappy old panel. I swapped it out with a 200 amp service. And, like just cleaning up the service can make a huge difference too. Like the neutrals should all be on their own bus. The grounds should all be on their own bus. And the ground bus is bonded to the panel case. And everything is isolated, right? Like and nice and clean,
So how do is any modern certified licensed electrician going to be able to do that? Or
Absolutely.
Is there something you need to look for?
Absolutely. But like a lot of times, like with these building biologists or someone that can work as a consultant, like you would hire a consultant, and then you would also hire an electrician, unless the consultant is a licensed electrician, so that the consultant and your electrician work together to like clean up any problems that you have, And another thing that you can do is to isolate your water main coming in by putting like about a foot of PEX like into the copper, so you break the continuity of the water main, and you install like a piece of PEX, which is plastic, that will isolate your water system from the the rest of the water main electrically. Electrically isolate your water system from the water main.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just a small piece because you're a proponent of copper.
Yeah.
Due to microplastics.
Yeah, maybe microplastics, like.
But one section of PEX to keep you from having those.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Microvoltage coming in from the water system.
Yeah.
Is not gonna.
Like
the trade-off is worth it. In other words,
your water system being electrified isn't like doing you any favors.
Right. Now, one of the things I don't want to forget to mention is because one of the things you were talking about when we were talking about my wife and her sleeping patterns was you said, well, where does she have her phone?
Yeah.
And I go, she leaves it right next to her bed.
Yep.
And you're like, I guess without diving deep into a rabbit hole, we just did a test right here, and I had my phone off and it was still having some signal. I had it in airplane mode; it was sending a lot of signal. Whereas your Android phone, we could do a demonstration. I guess are there videos out there with these demonstrations?
I mean, you could look them up. I bet you find some stuff.
Right. So, anyway, you were suggesting the fact that since she's got an Apple phone, probably best to keep it in a whole nother room.
In a different room, yeah. It's like,
now, what about her? I mean, I bought her an analog alarm clock. She still doesn't trust it. She had an Apple Watch, but it's not an Apple Watch with the radios in it.
Yeah.
So is that still better to set an alarm on the Apple Watch and not have the phone at least right next to the bed?
I don't know exactly. I can't necessarily speak to that. I'm unfamiliar with Apple products in general. And like it's sort of like also watches that have some conductivity with your skin to take like
heart rate or
that kind of stuff. Like I don't know. I'm not saying it's bad or that like you should throw all your Apple stuff away. But I just like since I got like kind of tased with the whole electrosensitivity thing, I just kind of try to avoid using anything that
when you hold it up to a meter and it's supposed to be off.
Yeah, exactly.
You're expecting it to be off.
And I discovered that using my Safe and Sound Pro from Safe Living Technologies. This is a RF meter that can measure like Wi-Fi, signal and stuff like that. But I placed this on top of my phone, and it got my phone reading. It was chirping. When I put my phone in airplane mode, it stopped completely.
Yeah, why don't we just do it just real quick right now? Is your phone nearby?
They're both right behind you right there. Well, the thing is that there is Wi-Fi next door, so this thing might not.
Yeah, but let's give it a shot before you even turn it on, so we hear what it says.
Okay.
Before you, is this in airplane mode now?
Yeah. See, there's a little bit of a signal here.
Right.
But then if I turn my airplane mode off,
it's peaking out.
Yeah, and turn the airplane mode back on. So on Android, airplane mode works.
Right. So we get the Apple, and let's do it this way. Let's hold this up to a camera so they can see this. So here it is. Let's see. And then I'm going to take the airplane mode. I'm going to turn it off. So that's kind of interesting. So here's my phone. My phone is actually off right now. So we're going to turn it on. It's in airplane mode. And it's still chirping a little bit. And I think that's what you had referenced. And then that's really strong. You can turn, that's Wi-Fi off. I can turn the Bluetooth off. But airplane mode, it slows down, but it still has like this ticking, like a clock that's ticking. Mm. Whereas the Android didn't have that. So for sure, it slows it down a little bit.
Yeah.
To turn off the Wi-Fi, turn off the Bluetooth, turn it on airplane mode. It's just an interesting test to see what you got going on. The other suggestion I think you had was to, because I actually went into my Wi-Fi. I actually can put it on a schedule. If you log into my router, I don't know, is that something that's common among routers?
There is another router. I forgot the website. That is like it's built for, like electro-sensitivity. So like the Wi-Fi only turns on when you attempt to access it, kind of a thing. And
Like it's at a super low level,
Yeah,
but it's like
exactly.
pinging and checking. Okay, I access now. I can turn it full on.
Now I've got the Wi-Fi on my house like off, like I turn it off on the router. Like I don't really purchase an appliance that uses connectivity without an Ethernet port, So
Right, my son was just.
yeah,
We were talking about this at breakfast. My son just we're rewiring our house with Cat, I guess 6.
yeah.
Is that the latest?
I think
Now we bought Shielded. Was that a good move or
that's
a
good,
dumb
yeah.
move? That was a good move.
Yeah.
So we bought Shielded Cat 6. We're rerunning. He wants, I still don't know exactly why. And you said you didn't really understand why, but he's running 2 lines to each bedroom.
Yeah.
We ran 4 lines to the TV so that every single device, the TV, the Apple TV, the cable box, and then we got one open one in case we need it. Everything is full on wired, so we can actually turn the Wi-Fi off in the house. Yeah. Every computer is going to have its own Cat 5 port plugged in, so we don't have to have the Wi-Fi on the computers. The only challenge we have is that we have AT&T service, and the signal in our home is so horrible that we usually do calls over Wi-Fi.
Just so you're aware, like if you have fiber optic with the AT&T, there are the AT&T fiber that was provided to me when I switched to AT&T. It doesn't have the ground. It's like a signal cable, like it's a fiber optic cable that has a ground that's actually electrified. So they can find it underground, so that can be like, you can look that up online, that certain, fiber optic cable can bring like electrical noise into your home.
And we just actually had the fiber installed because they told us they were going to take out, we have it through Comcast.
Okay.
And they're actually taking out the old coax pedestals. We're actually going to remove them.
Yeah.
And so we were forced to move to the fiber optic.
Yeah.
And then, so when we did it, we wanted to rewire everything and hardwire as much as we can. So what is I'm just curious, do you know, like, is there an option if you kind of would like to have your phone on Wi-Fi to make phone calls? Is there a good option for that? Or I guess this router that you're talking about, when you actually need it, it'll click on to Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what we did though is we moved it to the far side of the house, the router.
Yeah.
And it obviously is working.
Yeah.
Because he can't use his computer. It's such a weak signal in the bedroom.
Sure.
That he's like, I don't have any internet, Dad. That's what, he's trying to get it all wired and put the ends on right now.
I will say this about electronic devices, like those fields like fall off like exponentially or whatever. So like the distance,
So if you just put your phone, instead of having it right next to your nightstand, if you just put it on your dresser across the room.
That's better. I would put it in another room. Like but
I mean, if you're not comfortable because you want to make sure you wake up, put it in the bathroom maybe.
Sure, yeah, or like just maybe even ideally keep your phone out of your bedroom. Like it's like they say it's not good with the blue light and the doom scrolling like right before bed. Just like maybe just keep the phone out of the bedroom. With this building biology stuff, like the bedroom is the key. Like no matter what, we're gonna get like hit with fields in the modern world. Like they say that the bedroom is where your body restores and it like repairs itself, So like the bedroom is the most important room to be.
I didn't realize how it needs to be clutter free.
Yeah.
It needs to be EMF free. It needs to be RF free. It needs to be painted. We painted ours. What was it? Collingwood by Benjamin Moore, which is like this gray, but has a purple undertone, violet undertone.
Yeah.
And I made sure I got a drapery I still have to put up in the corner because this corner is supposed to be bad because it cuts off the chi or whatever. I'm
Sure.
not sure. And then I put draperies along the window. So I did the entire wall in draperies, which added multiple benefits. So it cut down the noise coming in from the outside.
Yeah.
It cut down the heat coming in from the sliding glass door. And it cut on the noise echo inside of the room because we have stone tile floors.
Yeah.
And no carpet. It did. I was like studying feng shui.
Yeah, good.
And
It's fun.
and so I think is it recommended to put your bed on a carpet?
So I'm not sure about that. I know carpets can release VOCs and stuff.
Well, I
Some
guess
of the
if
new
you
carpets.
had like a natural wool carpet,
Yeah,
that would be the
natural
way
wool, yeah.
the way to go.
Yeah, I would go with
Versus some
natural
sort
fibers.
of artificial fiber.
You know, when you have the opportunity, you know, to go with the natural
But
fibers.
you would still. How would you if I wanted to have grounding sheets? How would I do that without? Because I don't have any way that I'm aware of to. Is my floor grounded being stone on top of a concrete slab home?
There is some ground there. You know, the thing about concrete is that it has rebar embedded, and rebar can interact with, you know, the human energy in a way that's like unbeneficial.
Not ideal.
I've heard, not ideal. I've heard. Now, as far as like, you know, your room there, first of all, if you're going to set up like a grounding situation for your bed, I would definitely look to see what does your electric field environment look like in your bedroom, you know?
Oh, so I should pick up one of those.
I would, this thing was like 250 or $300, you know, it's like
It's for your health.
entry level, you know, like
Right.
It's good. This is what the building biology people said, you need to get this brand, you know?
So let me have that so I can show that to
Yeah.
the camera. There it is there.
And if you want to flip it around for the camera, you can show them the tolerances, you know, so first of all, I would look at the electrical like field situation in your bedroom, because if you have an electrically dense like field situation, then you're just creating
An antenna, like you did in
a
your
grounded
apartment that you
antenna,
had.
Yeah. So, you know, and I would definitely use a dedicated cable, not something that goes into your electrical circuit, you know?
And what kind of plug? You would use like a regular plug on this, but then would have ran separately. Actually, that's something I could do.
Yeah.
I could put like a regular receptacle. I guess I put ground on it.
Yeah.
And then I could run it up the wall and then down the outside of the house into the. Would you even use the same ground I have for like my pool pump, or you
No, especially not your pool pump. Yeah. Like,
you'd use a brand new grounding rod.
yeah. It doesn't.
Does it have to be like a 6 foot grounding rod, or just a 2 foot would be 3 foot would be good enough?
I wouldn't say it has to be a 6 foot grounding rod.
I want to say that one I have for the pool pump. I want to say I think because that also grounds my screen and porch frame. It's grounded as well.
I'll say if you do put like a grounding rod for like a dedicated.
But and the reason why I'm mentioning this, just let me. So it's close to my bedroom. That grounding rod.
Sure.
It's where I have a bedroom. Then there's like a 6 foot of closet, and in that corner is that 6 foot grounding rod.
Sure.
For the swimming pool pump and my screened in. So I can put this grounding wall along this wall anywhere. I probably want to be as far away from this as I can in case that's dirty.
You want to get it as far away from like if you put another grounding rod in, like do not put it like right next to it. You know, you want it like as far away kind of, you know, I'm not sure what the minimum distance is, you know, around the corner, you know, like other side of the room type of a thing, you know, like, yeah. And
could that be just a common like 14 gauge Romex?
Probably
all twisted together, or you just want a single wire, or
well, for the electrical grounding panel, like you want
I'm talking about for putting a ground in my bedroom to ground, say, my sheets or something.
I mean,
first you want to make sure that there's none of this going on.
Right, exactly. And
otherwise the grounding is actually going to be counterproductive.
Whether you're talking about like grounding for your bed sheet ground or your panel, it's like I like the idea of using a braided wire because evidently it has lower impedance. Braided wires, stranded wire has lower impedance than solid core. So for just grounding your personal bed, I mean, you could probably do it with like a speaker wire, you know, just some connectivity, you know.
That's braided.
Yeah. But I would probably go like if you can get like a heavier gauge, for ground is good. And then like as far as a rod goes, like you could put in an 8-foot rod if you wanted to. Or you could just probably take a piece of copper like solid core wire that's a couple feet long and push it into the ground. And just put as long as you can push it in the ground. And then
in Florida, it's sand.
Yeah,
it's not too difficult.
Yeah. So if you want to ground,
I'm just trying to attack everything I can for this woman I love, and she just can't seem to get a good night's sleep, and she's just really
see what the fields are doing there. Like a lot of
the redo of the bedroom, by the way, though, eliminating the clutter, putting in the drapes, which helped with the noise from the outside and noise inside, and then the new paint color.
Mm-hmm.
It's been she said it's been a tremendous help, but she's not there yet. I guess it's like you're trying to say, it's like a work in progress.
It could be that the circuit that powers your bedroom like has some issues with fields. Like a lot of times with the building biology stuff, like if there is like a circuit in a bedroom and you want to like a real custom, like you can use a metal clad conduit, which is like the spiral wound metal shield on the wire, can actually act as a Faraday cage to catch the field on that wire. And then it's grounded as well. So it's catching the field coming off the wire and grounding it.
So as a guy that could go in there and do a little bit of remodeling myself, would you try to run that all the way back to the panel or just run it to where it's outside of the room?
Yeah, I mean, in that particular situation, I'm not a qualified certified electrician, so I have to be careful about any advice I give you, like especially like getting in your panel, But none of the things that we're gonna do are contrary to like electrical.
Is that braided? Is that something you would add to an existing wire? Like I've gotten like wire management plastic covers like for my trailer and my motorcycle trailer where it opens up, but then you can twist it on an existing wire. Is this braid you're talking about something that would go on like this, or is it something that you actually buy as the wire with the braided?
It comes both ways. It's also known MC, metal clad, and you can get like Romex wire it's already metal clad with the spiral sheath, or you can buy the sheath like empty and you just push the wire through it.
Okay.
So that's one way that they can like kind of help protect those circuits in the bedroom. Like that might be one room where you want like MC wiring, metal clad wiring.
Also curious, that whole house has metal 2x4s.
Yeah. Okay.
What have you read anything?
I haven't had much experience with that.
Might have.
Yeah, I haven't had much experience with it. I could definitely see that could potentially, like create an interesting environment.
Right.
So
it could be good, could be bad. We don't know.
Yeah.
Something to research. Okay. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, Daniel?
I'll say as far as your wife goes, I would say keeping the phone like as far away as you can. The further away like it is, the weaker the field will be. Another thing I see is those like they're like a charging stand you just place your phone onto, and it charges
next to the bed.
Yeah, and it's like right by the bed, like, that's not going to be doing you.
Well, actually, the other day when we were having our talk, one of the things that you even recommended is she just must have the phone by the bed. You could buy, and they're not very expensive. I actually bought a Faraday bag.
Yeah.
I actually got a large bag. It's like this big to put all my memory cards in, because I read that you could have some crazy sunspot situation and it could fry your photography on your memory. Because I don't format my memory cards.
Sure.
I just get new ones thinking, oh, I'm safe.
Yeah.
And then I read somewhere you could, first of all, there's going to be degradation anyway over time.
Yeah.
Even if everything was perfect.
Right.
And then, so I keep those in the Faraday bag. And I don't think it was, I think 20, 30, maybe it was $40. I don't know. It wasn't crazy. Mm-hmm. So you suggested maybe just putting the phone inside of a Faraday bag.
Yeah, potentially.
If you just have to have it right next to the bed.
If you have to have it right next to the bed, yeah.
I would even feel secure with it having that. It's just her alarm clock and she has to wake up early.
I mean, sometimes I like to listen to soothing sounds on my phone,
and she does that too.
But I have an Android and I can download that and then put my Android in airplane mode, and So it's
And
not.
you've checked it. Well, we actually even just demonstrated it
Yeah.
with the meter.
Airplane mode works on Android as far as I can tell. Yeah.
Right. And actually airplane mode helps on the Apple. But you still see like a little ping.
Still chirping, yeah.
It's still chirping a little bit.
You know?
So, okay, well, yeah, so you got those meters. We talked, so these are the websites. I'll mention them again.
Yeah.
Safe Living Technologies, that's where we get, let's hold it up. That's where we
this
get that
RF
meter from.
Yeah.
Do you know roughly how much this thing is?
That was like, I think it's like $450 or something. I got it like refurbished for like $250.
Okay, so maybe a refurb if you want to save a few bucks. The home EMF tracing, that's
Andrew McAfee's website.
McAfee.
And he's written several books. I'd start with the book called Killing Current,
Killing Current.
or just anything that you want to get into. Yeah.
And then D filters.
That's Bill Bathgate's.
Bill Bathgate. So these are the experts that are out there.
Yeah, I worked with Bill. They come into town here sometimes, and when he comes into town, like I assist him. He's shown me how to hook up the power supply to an oscilloscope, so we can see like that 60 hertz sine wave, and then you can see that fuzzy caterpillar of transients over 60 hertz. That's what this device can measure, the Stetzerizer microsurge meter. And this thing's about $140 new. And this is kind of good just to see what's going on, like as far as like dirty voltage or like the power supply coming on the transformer into your home. Like, maybe one of the homes that shares your transformer is like, got like some equipment that is like putting a lot of noise on the circuit.
You mentioned solar panels as
solar panel
one
inverters.
of the culprits of that.
Solar panel inverters can be noisy, but this thing you just plug in and
you just plug it into
an outlet.
The other side is the outlet plug.
Yeah, just an outlet, and it'll give you a reading. And the Stetzerizer tells you that anything over a reading of 50 is not ideal. And I've seen a lot of some homes under 50. Like this home is certainly not under 50. Like
this home's not under 50?
No, like one of them sits at like 250. And now we got to remember that like there's two phases in the panel and they alternate on the breakers. So like this outlet might be on one phase, but you might have a second outlet in the same room that's on a different phase, so you got to check both phases and check multiple outlets, to see like what's going on with that. But this is they say like it's a proprietary algorithm measuring like volts over time, getting a reading on like transients.
Let me hold that up.
Transients above 60 hertz.
So here you go. See if I can get it there. That's what it looks like. Daniel, thanks so much.
My pleasure.
For sharing.
Yeah, it's been fun.
And we have a lot of resources that you shared as well. A couple of books and 3 websites, and got to look at some of the equipment that you're using. And let's just go back to this one. This one is the first one that you said you bought.
Yeah.
And it's just
$35.
$35 just to get an idea.
I think I got that one at lessemf.com. And they have like a lot of different products, that you can get into.
Right. So I think it's just a topic that, we're, as you said, we're just scratching the surface.
Absolutely.
But if you've never even heard of this before, now you've got some resources to go after and check out your house to see, if you're having some health issues, maybe.
Especially if you have like some strange symptoms or like some vertigo or like something that you're not sure what's going on. You don't feel right. Like you don't feel great, like hard to settle down. Like you got stuff you don't know what's going on, like since I moved into this house, someone's like, this house is trying to kill me or whatever, I've looked at some weird stuff, like there's some little things that you can do that like basically get it handled. A lot of this stuff can be repaired.
Right.
Yeah.
And get fixed.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
We'll stay in touch.
Sounds good.
All right.